Hi, I'm Mark Wallace, and today I'd like to introduce you to the AC3 ZoneController from PocketWizard. Using the ZoneController with your PocketWizard Mini and multiple flexes allows you to control multiple remote speed lights, or even some studio lights, or both, at the same time. So let me explain how it works. The ZoneController allows you to place your flashes in one of three zones. Now these zones are called A, B, and C. To put a flash in a specific zone, you just put your flash on your flex, and then slide the zone selector switch to the zone that you'd like to use. And today, I'm going to keep things simple, and I'm going to have one flash in zone A, one in zone B, or one in zone C. Now the nice thing is the flexes allow you to set up as many flashes as you'd like in each of the zones. So I could have had 4 in zone A, and 5 in zone B, and 20 in zone C, or any combination of those. But we want to keep things simple, so I just have one in each zone. Okay, now let's take a look at how the AC3 ZoneController allows you to control all of these flashes right from the top of your camera. Now the ZoneController has one switch and a dial for each zone. With the switch, you can put each of your zones into A for auto. Now auto allows you to use ETTL or ITTL flash, just like we're all familiar with. Then there's M for manual. Yep, that's right, manual control. So you can adjust the manual output of your flashes using the ZoneController. And finally, there's 0 or off, and you can use that to turn the zone completely off. Now with each dial, you can adjust the power output of your flash in third stop increments. And you have a range of plus or minus 3 stops. So you can increase or decrease the power by up to 3 stops. The center point is 0. To increase the output of a zone, turn the dial clockwise or into the white side of the dial. And to decrease the power, turn the dial counterclockwise or into the black side of the dial. Now it's really easy to remember. For more light, turn to the light side of the dial, and for less light, turn to the dark side of the dial. So now we know a little bit about this stuff. Let's see what the ZoneController can really do. Well, now that we're in the studio, let me walk you through how I have everything set up. Here's my camera. This is a Canon 50D, and on top of that, I have a Mini TT1. Now behind me, we have a model. This is Don, and around Don, we have 3 580EX2s, all of them on flexes. Now this one, we have the flex turned to zone A. This one is on zone B, and behind Don, our flex is on zone C. Now, before I start shooting, I just need to put my PocketWizard ZoneController on the Mini. Now, I don't have to worry about how the dials and switches are set. I can just slide that right on there. It's really tolerant. But once I have it on the Mini, I do need to take one of my calibration shots. So let me do that right now. So look right at me, Don. Excellent. Okay, now that we have everything calibrated, we're ready to start shooting. But before we do, let me explain how I have the ZoneController set. Now, the first thing I did was I turned zone C off. I don't want to use the separation light behind Don right now, so the ZoneController, the switch is set to 0 or off. And I have both zone A and zone B set to A for auto, and their output at 0. And that means that the ETTL system is going to shoot what it thinks is correct. So let me take a shot and show you how this looks. So again, Don, look right at me. And perfect, that's beautiful. Well, that shot looks pretty good, but I'd like to make a small adjustment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take zone B and set it to -2 to take some of the power down. I'll take a shot and show you how that looks. So we get that set. Okay, look right at me, Don. Excellent, I love that. Well, I really like how that shot looks, but I'd like to take it one step further. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take zone B and I'm going to turn it completely off. So let me do that and show you how that looks. Okay, I've turned that off. And look right at me, Don. Beautiful. Well, I really love how that gives our portrait a really dramatic look. But I'd like to add a separation light behind Don, so I'm going to turn on zone C. I'm going to put it to A for auto and put the power output at 0, so that ETTL is going to shoot, again, what it thinks is the correct exposure. So let me do that right now. I have my zone C on auto at 0, and Don, look right at me. Okay, well, that actually looks a little bit hot to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take zone C, and I'm going to adjust the power output down so it'll be at -1. Okay, I'm going to reshoot that. So let me try that one more time. Okay, again, look right at me. Well, using the ZoneController in auto is terrific because it makes it very simple for you to tweak the power levels between the different zones. Now remember, I kept things very simple today by only having one speed light in each zone, but you could put as many speed lights as you'd like in each of the zones. Well, there's a setting we haven't talked about yet, and that's M for manual. Now you can adjust the manual output of your flash from a 64th of full power all the way up to full power. Let me explain how the dial works on the zone controller. +3 is for full power, 0 is for an eighth of full power, and -3 is for 1/64th full power. Okay, I'm going to put zone C in manual. I'm going to put my power dial to +3, which is full power. And the nice thing is I can use manual mode and auto mode at the same time. Let me do that, and I'm going to take a shot. Okay, Don, look right at me. Okay. Excellent. Well, that light is a little bit too hot for me, so I'm going to take zone C down to an eighth of full power, which is 0 on the power dial. So let me do that right now, and we'll take the shot. So look right at me, Don. Excellent. Well, after all that, I think I prefer no separation light, so I'm going to take zone C and turn it off. So I'm going to take a shot and show you how that looks. All right, Don, look right at me, and zone C is off. Well, now that I have a shot that I really like, I could actually make more changes. I can change the output of all of the flashes. This is called a global change because it changes the output of everything and keeps the relationships between the lights the same. So I could either take all the output up or down, and I can do that pretty simply. All I have to do is change the flash exposure compensation on my camera. Now I might do that, let's say if I'm shooting on location and I want a better balance between the ambient light and my strobes, or let's say I want to take what I think is a great shot but underexpose everything for a more dramatic effect. All I have to do is go into my camera and change the flash exposure compensation dial to either overexpose or underexpose everything. It's important to note that this only changes zones that are in the auto setting. Zones set to manual mode are not affected. With the PocketWizard AC3 ZoneController, you have the power to control all of your remote flashes right from the top of your camera.